evening and welcome to another edition of the Press Club with me, Kendall Burton. We're going to depart from our usual format this weekend. We normally have practicing journalists in studio with us discussing current affairs or making analysis of the big stories making the news every week. This week we have somebody who's not a practicing journalist, but somebody who works very closely with the media in the person of the Press Relations Officer for the Royal St. Lucia Police Force, Corporal Aniel Innocent. Welcome to the Press Club.
Thank you and good evening, viewers. Thank you, Kendall, for having me here.
Let's start with a discussion about your work. What exactly is it that you do as Press Relations Officer, and how is it different from the Community Relations branch of the police force?
I work directly with the Commissioner of Police, and my primary responsibility is to disseminate information to the media, to the members of the public. So I would do so by writing the press releases after I've obtained information from the various stations or departments where an incident has occurred. I do so in a timely manner. By before 4 p.m. every day, I have to ensure that the news has gone out to all of the media houses.
Okay, and how long have you been doing that role?
I have been there for approximately 1 year now.
Okay, and what is your relationship with the media like? How has it been? Have they made you feel welcome?
Yes, and I'm happy to say I do have a very good relationship with the media. I can call on any person in the media fraternity and ask them to come to a function that the Royal St. Lucia Police Force is having, and if they are available, they will come there. I must say I am very, very comfortable with members of the media. I have a very good working relationship with them, and I do hope that this relationship is maintained.
Okay, let's speak a little bit about some of the initiatives that have been undertaken by the Commissioner and the Police Department on a whole to improve police media relations. I know one of those is the quarterly press briefing with the Commissioner of Police. You had one earlier this week. What are some of the other initiatives that have been undertaken by the Commissioner or the Police Department to improve relations with the press and the media generally?
Apart from our quarterly press conference, we do have what is called the Meet the Commissioner. Actually, we do have one coming up in October, the 8th of October, at the Ancillary Primary School. And in Meet the Commissioner, we give persons the opportunity to ask questions, to make suggestions, because we do want to interact with the public. We do want to make it a safe environment for all of the people of St. Lucia. So we go out there, we mingle, we listen to them, we take in their complaints, their suggestions, and we try to make it better for everyone who's affected by whether it's criminality, whether it's something that is happening within the police department, whether it's your neighbor causing you trouble and whatnot. We also have upcoming a police week of activity, and that week is usually in the month of November. So starting from Sunday, November 24th to December 1st, 2013, we will observe a Police Week 2013 under the theme, The Police and the Public, the Best Framework for Progress.
But as you quite rightly said, these activities or initiatives are largely targeted at communities generally, but I wanted to focus on the media specifically. Apart from the quarterly press conferences, do you have anything else that is specifically targeted at the media?
Yes, we are open to the media. The Commissioner has made it clear that we have maintained and we are going to maintain that good relationship with the media. Whenever we are called upon, whether it's through our quarterly press brief or just an ordinary interview with the Commissioner of Police or the crime chief or any other head of department, we are readily available to do so.
Is there a media policy in the police department, a written document that says this is the procedure or the way that we want police officers to interact with the media, or is it that all interviews, all comments, public statements are issued through the Press Relations Office or the Commissioner's office?
It has to be from the Commissioner's office. The Commissioner is the one who authorizes the dissemination of press releases.
But generally, do you think the relationship between the media and the police is a healthy one?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Despite the fact that we may have our disagreements, or perhaps one of the media houses...
You have butted heads a few times. There has been some tension.
Yes, perhaps one of the media houses has played a story which is not enlightening, or which is not... Well, which is not in favor of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. But at the end of the day, we do understand that it is a business that you are running, and if your story is what is going to sell your business, you will run the story. But at the end of the day, we do not take anything personally. We speak to you about it. If that means that we need to get an apology, we will ask for one, and we'll continue with the relationship, because we ought to be very professional in the way that we do business. And we understand, like I said, that it's a business, and we understand that the Royal St. Lucia Police Force, despite the fact that we do not like what is going out in the media, we have to continue and maintain the relationship that we have with the media.
I have to say that this commissioner, Commissioner Bernard Francois, has, or is rather, one of the most accessible commissioners that I've had the opportunity to work with. He seems to have an open door policy. He's one of the few commissioners who you can call on the spur of the moment, who is open to doing interviews, whether over the telephone, in person, on the spur of the moment. But there are some people, and not just speaking locally, who generally, in general terms, who feel that the media and the police ought not to get too close, because it impacts the ability of either to function efficiently or professionally, as you just mentioned. I want to get your views on that.
You see, the Royal St. Lucia Police Force does not have anything to hide, and we not have a role to play in what the media would disseminate on an evening. We provide the information. It is up to the editors or the persons working within the media fraternity to disseminate the information. We cannot tell DBS what to put out in the media. We can only facilitate you or furnish you with the information that we have within the Public Relations Department of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. What the commissioners always said that is that you cannot, if you have done the right thing, at the end of the day, nothing will go wrong. It will be up, yes, from the police perspective, and it's the way that the members of the public probably accept the information that you give to them. We do understand that people rely solely on the media to give them information, and they're expecting that whatever the media gives them is very accurate. So one of the priorities of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force is to give accurate information to the media, and to give it in a timely manner, so we don't have that confrontation, or that the media said this and the police is now coming back to this later to say that.
Yeah, but I think one of the reasons for that suggestion or statement that the media and the police ought not to get too close is that, I mean, traditionally it's been a contentious relationship. It's a love-hate relationship. And a lot of it has to do with the development of personal relationships, whether between police officers and media professionals. And this is not just restricted to St. Lucia. I don't know if you remember the scandal in the UK a while back, where the media was accused of tapping phone lines and getting information on a number of prominent citizens. That was one of the main examples of, or lending credence to that suggestion that the media and the police ought not to get too close together, because it was felt that the Metropolitan Police did not handle the situation as best as they could, or as they should have under normal circumstances, because of these relationships between police commissioners or police superintendents and newspaper editors, newspaper reporters. There was an inquiry subsequent to that, and there were a number of reports, two reports more specifically, pointing to the need for police officers and journalists to draw a line, and keep their relationship, well, for lack of a better word, professional. Stop the lunches, stop the bribes, yes. Because there were instances where reporters would slip a police officer a couple of dollars, for information aside or outside of the normal communication channels. In this case, the police press relations office. In a small society like St. Lucia, I'm moving away from the UK now, that is perhaps an even bigger issue, I think, personally. That's my personal opinion. It's more likely to happen because we live in such a small society that it's more likely that police officers and reporters, whether they have personal relationships, girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, wife, they might be related, brother, sister, cousin. It's a lot easier for police officers to divulge information to a news reporter than not.
I think
and outside the normal channels. What I'm asking then, and that's why I alluded to earlier, the issue of written document that stipulates this is how we deal with the press, this is how we deal with the media?
We need to maintain a professionalism at all times. This is why everything which has to go out to the media has to come from the Public Relations Department.
But everything that goes out doesn't come from the
I
press
do
relations
understand
office.
that our media personnel do have the informants who give them information on the ground when an incident happens. But at the end of the day, any additional information which needs to come out has to come through the Public Relations Department of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force, and the Commissioner of Police or the Chief of Crime has to sanction the press releases.
But okay, go ahead.
It is very important for us to maintain a professional relationship. I do understand, yes, that persons have relatives or friends who may want to divulge information to them, just because, well, I know you, I'm going to let you know, well, a homicide just occurred in my area. But at the end of the day, I don't think it's an issue where the relationship is so personal that every instant you have somebody calling, or a reporter is probably paying a police officer to give him information. I believe that the Royal St. Lucia Police Force is very professional when it comes to dealing with members of the media.
But the fact that sometimes, as you quite rightly pointed out earlier, erroneous information does go out.
Yes.
And sometimes it is coming from members of the police force or affiliates of the police force. Do you think it's a reflection on your department, that the information perhaps is not coming from your department as quickly as the media would like?
I'm not saying it's because the information is not coming out as quickly. Persons need to understand that after an incident has happened, you need to carry out investigations. We don't want to give you the wrong name. We don't want to give you the wrong age. So you have procedures to follow. So if it's going to take us probably 3 or 4 hours to obtain the correct information, the media would have to wait until. But then we understand that media personnel do have the contacts, and they will go on the ground. They will probably interview somebody who has witnessed the incident, and based on what the witness has given, the information is inaccurate, and later on it has to be corrected by the Public Relations Department. We do try to avoid that by sending out the press releases early, and that is one of the issues that we've had in the past, where information goes out erroneously, and the Police Relations Department have to now come out and say the information sent earlier was erroneous and we are making a correction.
But you will appreciate that in today's technological age, 4 hours is a long time to wait for information.
Yes, it is a very long time, considering the fact that the news comes out at 8 p.m. or 7 p.m.
No, on the contrary, but a lot of the media houses are now not relying purely on publication dates in the case of newspapers, or news deadlines or news times. DBS comes on at 7 o'clock, but a lot of them have websites, they have Facebook pages, and information is presented on these media throughout the day.
But what can be easier for a media worker is to contact the Public Relations Office and get the correct information. If you go on a scene and a witness has said to you that the guy's name is John Doe, and you are not certain that his name is John Doe, you can pick up the phone. I'm always available. I have given my cell phone number as well as my office number to every member of the media. They can call, whether it's via cell phone or my office, and ask me to verify the information for them. If I don't have it at the time, I can call the station department which is in the jurisdiction of whichever incident has occurred, and I will get the correct information to you. So it's a matter of communication between the media and the Public Relations Office.
And you're a one-man show, a one-woman show?
Yes, I do understand that I am a one-woman show, but at the end of the day, I'm always available to give out the information, to find out, to verify information. This is my job, and I can say that I am doing that. If any member of the media calls upon me to verify information, I will get back to them as soon as at the soonest.
I wanted to touch on the difference between the Press Relations Office and the Community Relations branch. Is there any overlapping, or are you solely responsible for dealing with the media and the Community Relations branch to deal with members of the public?
No, I also deal with members of the public, but then the Community Relations branch, they're actually out there. They're at the schools, they're at the town hall meetings, they're at the parent-teacher associations and whatnot. So they communicate directly with members of the public. But then as much as I would want to be out there with them on the road, but then I do have to always be at the office, because that is where I type up the press releases and whatnot. But the community relations branch is more active when it comes to community policing and community involvement than I am.
How large is the community relations branch?
The community relations branch is in Castries is about 7 strong. We also have community relations branches around the island. We have in Micoud, we have Miss Augustine, who is doing a tremendous job in Micoud, I must say. We have Mr. Shalmine, who is doing, and Miss Edmonds, who is doing a tremendous task in Vivout as well. So we do have community relations personnel all around the island.
How many in total?
I don't have an exact figure in my head, but we do have a number of police officers doing community relations.
Are those police officers assigned purely to community relations, or
yes,
do they have other duties and functions?
No, they're assigned entirely to do community relations. They can do other aspects of policing, but they are just tasked with community relations duties.
Yes, so how come we don't have a larger press relations office?
Hopefully we will have a larger press relations office. We understand that the public relations office cannot just have one individual. We are hoping in the near future, and I mean very near future, that we are going to enlarge in the public relations department and put in the additional staff in there.
I'm noting you've moved from press relations to public relations.
Yes.
Is there a reason for that?
But it's just...
Has it finally dawned on the commissioner the importance of an overall or supervisory public relations specialist?
I don't think it's as a result of that. I think we are now moving more into the community policing, the public relations, the media, media and whatnot. So we have just made it seem, well, we just give it this nice, polished look.
Does the recent incident with the U.S. government have anything to do with that?
No.
Because you've been in need of a public relations specialist for a while.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Because I as much as I like the commissioner, he seems to be very popular among the media, among the police officers.
Yeah, he's a very popular man. Our police officers that have accepted him, they do love him. I do love my police commissioner. The media loves him. The community loves him. He's just one
I'll
of
ask you that question again off camera. See if I get the same answer.
Yes, I do love my commissioner of police.
Yeah, but in all honesty, he has put his foot in his mouth a few times. And it brings up the question of whether or not, and I guess hopefully with the establishment or the expansion of the public relations department, that would be addressed, that somebody be assigned responsibility for giving the commissioner or the senior brass of the police force talking points when they make public appearances. Because sometimes I think they, speaking off the cuff, as much as we appreciate him accommodating the media, sometimes I think he needs to be more careful of how he phrases things, how he puts information out, because sometimes it can or has the potential to make things worse.
I think the commissioner is fairly capable of handling himself. So if he has said something in the media which probably is sent out the wrong message to persons, he could come back after because of that relationship that he has with the media.
He shouldn't have to come back in the first place. I mean, and one example, a perfect example would be the Mary Franceses of this world statement, the famous Mary Franceses of this world statement. That's
famous.
Quite a storm after that. And I don't think that relationship has recovered since.
I don't think the commissioner meant bad when he said the Mary Franceses of society. I think it was just a misinterpretation. This is just my opinion.
Well, I don't think there was any misinterpretation. I was there. But let's move on from media relations to community relations. We've touched on it a little bit. I know that has been a major thrust for the commissioner and the police department over the last, 2 years or so?
3 years.
3 years?
Yes.
Yeah. Is there any system in place to measure the success of the community relations program?
We usually use feedback from the public, and after every activity we speak to members of the public and they will let you know that, okay, I think this activity is a wonderful one, you should continue with it. I think you went wrong with this one, and here's a suggestion to better it off. So we rely on the members of the public to let us know how well we are doing with the community policing initiative.
Okay, but you haven't actually gone out and done a survey to say at the end of each year we can present statistical information to say we're making success in this area, we're failing in that area, we need to improve here.
Well, actually, we have the Research and Development branch of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force, and they are tasked with that responsibility. Okay. So we do go out and do on-the-ground research as to the success of our community policing initiative.
So it's not as haphazard as it seems.
No.
It's informed by...
Yes, we actually have a very structured Research and Development branch.
Okay. Now, I'm going to ask you to whatever degree you can, take off your police hat.
Oh, you're born. When you become a police officer, you are always a police officer. I don't think I could remove my police cap.
Okay. One of the biggest criticisms against the police force is that it has not been able to move. And I guess efforts are being made. We're speaking about the community relations aspect that has been introduced to the department, but there's a segment of the society that's not happy with the pace at which it is happening, that the police force is so entrenched, so deeply entrenched in some of the old habits and patterns that is hampering the success of the community relations aspect of its work. Bearing in mind that when the police force in most of the Eastern Caribbean, most of the English-speaking Caribbean, who were British colonies, were originally established with a function to protect the elites. So you only went out of the police station when you were going to interrogate or arrest somebody. You weren't interested in having a relationship with the community. Your job was to protect the elites, the colonists. When we became independent, that function didn't change. The role of the police was to protect the government, to arrest criminals, to quash dissent, public uprisings. Most of the police forces were a lot like the military, right? And even though we've had this introduction of the community policing initiative, there is still such a large influence of the past.
I tend to disagree.
You're free to disagree.
I tend to disagree. That's why you're here. I have the Commissioner of Police at this school. During Reading Month, we have this school. We have participated in marches. For example, last year in the community of Mikud, we had we took a stand against child abuse. We marched through the community of Mikud. We do have our sports activities. We do have our country train. We do have a whole range of activities. The commissioner will be walking the streets of Castries, greeting persons. So I won't say that we are there only to protect the elite. We are there with persons on the ground. Just recently, the community project for the recruits who just graduated from the police training academy was to build a home for a family who had lost their house in a fire. These are the things that we do to show the members of the public that we do appreciate them. And there's something called the police train. It is actually I hold it very dear to my heart. I love this initiative where we go around the island and we just give back, whether it's renovating houses for persons who are underprivileged, whether it's giving hampers, whether it's giving back to organizations who have been there working alongside the public. So we are giving back, and we are giving back a lot. Just last week, the Choiseul Police Station gave a full scholarship to a student of the Choiseul Secondary. So these are the things that we are doing. And we come out, we say this all the time. It is not that we are doing it and the curtains are dropped and no one can see the back of the curtain. We are out there. We have the police, the Royal St. Lucia Police Force Facebook page, where we post a number of the good deeds that the Royal St. Lucia Police Force is doing.
What's your following on the Facebook page like?
Pardon?
What's your following on the Facebook page?
We are at least 3,000 strong. We have the police Twitter account, so we tweet the good deeds of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. So we are out there, we are in the face of the public. So I don't think we are there just to protect the elites.
And that wasn't my
your intention.
My intention. And nobody's disputing all these activities that you mentioned. And this is where my opinion is coming in now. My issue is that there is not enough interaction. All right, and when there is interaction, the quality of the interaction has the capacity to negate all these positives that you've done. All right, because while the commissioner might have quarterly meetings with the press and the public might be very well informed about the activities that the police are having, there's an aspect, I think, that has been neglected to the detriment of the police force, and that is the interaction of the individual officers. And I don't know to what degree it is done at the police academy, the introduction of things like customer service and that sort of thing.
Customer service is very important, and we are taught customer service from...
Well, you're doing a bad... Some of your officers, let me rephrase that, some of your officers do a bad job.
Like in every organization, we do have our bad eggs, but the few persons who are the rotten eggs in the organization should not outweigh all of the positives from the remaining police officers.
To what degree do these things are these things taken into consideration at the recruitment level? I know you put out the photos for the public so that anybody who has issues with any of the individuals can raise them. Background checks are done. But to what degree is the person's certain predispositions taken into account or consideration at the recruitment level, so that when they are in uniform out in the streets, we can be assured of a certain degree of interaction with the public? Because while I say it's all well and good that the top brass is so interactive with the media, the ordinary man is the opportunities for him to interact with the commissioner is very rare or non-existent. So what we have is the ordinary police constable on the road who, even though the commissioner has sent a lot of them out on patrol, we see them on the streets. We have to compliment the commissioner for that. But there's no interaction. Very little interaction. And when there is interaction, as I said, sometimes it can negate anything else that's positive that has been done. I give you an example. A traffic police officer pulling over a motorist, and we know a lot of the incidents that occur, and you work in the traffic department, so you can attest to that. A lot of the incidents on the road is because of poor judgment, temporary lapses, the slightest mistake can cause an accident. It's not a major criminal offense. It's not like you're going out with the intent of hurting somebody or causing an accident. But sometimes the way the police officers interact with you leaves such a bad impression of police generally, or leaves such a bad taste in your mouth that you put it on the entire police force.
Yes, but this is
that's
the
not just
issue.
an isolated example, but I'm saying, you understand what the point I'm trying to make?
Yes, I do understand. This is the issue that the members of the public are using to weigh all other police officers. Our police officers are given customer service training very regularly. If you looked at in the news about 2 weeks ago, over 100 police officers were trained in customer service, and that happened in collaboration with the St. Lucia Hotel and Tourism Association. And despite the fact that, yes, the Tourism Association, they come and give us the training, but we have our own in-house training. Police officers are trained in customer service from the moment they get into the police training academy, and even out of the police training academy, we have our own in-house customer service workshops. We also go to customer service workshops given by other organizations. When a police officer stops you, he has to identify himself to you. He has to greet you. Most times when you stop a driver, he's already under the impression that you are going to give him a ticket, and he's probably irritated because drivers tend to believe that a police officer stopped you, he's going to disrupt your day because you are going to receive a traffic ticket. He probably is not even going to allow the police officer to have that normal conversation with him. He's already upset just at the fact that I stopped you, and the police officer may just stop you, caution you, or probably just ensure that your information is intact. But just because you are so resistant,
I don't expect any different answer from you, but I mean,
after all this,
let's use the defensive driving course as an example. It's been made mandatory. We have to go and do defensive driving in order to renew our licenses. We go through it, a lot of us, because we have to. But once we get back out on the road with our licenses, how many of us apply what we learned in the defensive driving class?
We see that a lot. We see
Same
that
thing
a
with
lot.
customer service.
Yes, but then you cannot...
If we can go back, we were talking about the history of the police and community policing. I mean, when the idea of community policing was first introduced, the idea was for police officers, and I'll use the UK as an example, because a lot of our police forces are patterned after an Irish police system in 1822.
Yes,
And we still using that system, even though the English have since 1829 made attempts to make their policing more community oriented.
Yes, and you've seen that with the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. We are now community policing driven. We have moved, as much as it's not entirely from the modern day hardback rigid type of policing, we have moved into community policing.
We still have a long way to go.
Yes, we do have a long way to go. We, as in every new initiative, we do have a long way to go.
But I was saying that the police officers, and maybe you can enlighten me here as well as the viewers on why it is that way. And I'm using the UK example. We're due for a break, so we'll take that break, and then when we come back, we'll continue that conversation.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, you're watching the Press Club on DBS with me, Kendall Burton. My special guest this evening is Corporal Aniel Innocent, Press Relations Officer from the Royal St. Lucia Police Department. We'll be right back.